Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, we have a professor here. This is an Oxford professor. His name is Dr. Young Hai Chi. And he says that aliens share our biosphere and they're acting to overcome the effects of climate change. He also has shown his views as early as 2012 in a lecture and has since then written a book. And so he actually approached the Oxford Union to propose a debate on this subject, and the proposal wasn't accepted. More than just basically that aliens are sharing our biosphere and they're helping to overcome the effects of climate change, they're actually interbreeding with us and creating new hybrid species. And so the Oxford student has learned that Dr. Young Hai Chi, professor at Oxford's Oriental Institute, believes in a strong correlation between climate change and alien abductions. In 2012, Dr. Chi gave a lecture at the AMACH conference titled Alien Abduction and the Environmental Crisis, in which he outlined his theory concerning the presence of aliens on Earth. And Dr. Chi began his lecture with the statement that perhaps human civilization is coming to an end. In his 55-minute presentation, he cited Dr. David Jacobs, an alien abduction researcher in the US, who argued that aliens' primary purpose is to colonize the Earth by interbreeding with humans to produce a new hybrid species. Second-generation hybrids are, according to Jacobs, walking unobserved amongst us right now. Dr. Chi argued that it is not only scientists and theologians, but also non-human species who appear to be greatly concerned about the survivability of the human species. He pointed out that the timing of aliens' appearances coincides with the Earth facing major problems, climate change and nuclear weapons in particular. He concludes that it may be more or less assumed that the hybrid project is a response to this impending demise of human civilization. He went on to argue that if we could act now on climate change, not only can we save ourselves, but also prove the aliens wrong in their judgment of our moral capacity. In April 2018, Dr. Chi approached the Oxford Union to propose a debate on the subject. The proposed motion was, aliens exist on Earth, yes or no? However, this proposal was not accepted by the then president-elect. Since the conference, Dr. Chi has developed this theory, writing a book in Korean, the title of which roughly translates to Alien Visitations and the End of Humanity. Dr. Chi spoke exclusively to the Oxford student regarding this theory. When asked whether he holds the views outlined in the 2012 conference still, he answered positively, elaborating on his views about alien abductions, the comprehensive biosphere theory, and his hypothesis as to the reasons for the ETs creating new human species. Dr. Chi believes there are 4 types of aliens: small, tall and bold, aliens with scales and snake eyes, and finally insect-like aliens. The insect-like aliens are the ones that seem to be highest in the hierarchy, he says, and give orders to the lower ranks. Whilst he states that in the case of alien abductions, they are diverse, he notes that what's common is that they're all conducting some kind of biological experiment, including the production of a hybrid. Explaining his theory of comprehensive biosystem, Dr. Chi states, if they are far, they shouldn't be concerned about us. I don't think they are from far, far away. They are just next to us. We just can't see them. If you use the analogy of fish, which can think and perceive things only in the way they can, and humans also perceive only in the way we can, so our perception of the world is limited by our organs. And that's a very true statement, for sure. According to Dr. Chi's theory, the fact that aliens and humans share the same biosphere means that climate change bears a negative impact on them, thus accounting for their increased interference in human affairs. He went on to outline his 3 hypotheses as to why aliens might want to produce hybrids with humans. He stated one possibility is that they find our DNA valuable for the preservation of the stock. Secondly, to create species which can survive in the future climate conditions. Thirdly, some abductees report that these hybrids are of very high intelligence, so they're producing these hybrids as problem solvers or perhaps future leaders. So when asked whether he holds a pessimistic view of the future, he expressed concern that there's a lack of political will to prevent climate change even if we have the necessary technology. He said, judging from the way the ETs are acting, they have a better view of our future. Perhaps it is pointing to a pessimistic future. He added, so they come not for the sake of us, but for the sake of them, their survival. But their survival is actually our survival as well, the survival of the entire biosphere. This is where I progressed in developing my theory, and I'm still looking for more evidence to support my view. So, when you think about this, well, think about the fact that there are interdimensionals among us. Many of us have seen so many of the amazing people out there give lectures on this subject, including David Jacobs, including David Icke. And David Icke has talked at length about reptilian shapeshifters and actually the multidimensionality, interdimensionality of them, the ability to perhaps only come into full form with a certain blood type in the 3D, not being able to interact fully on this plane of existence in our 3D environment unless they have a host of a certain blood type or a certain DNA structure. And this is a very interesting subject indeed, and is something that several have gone into depth talking about. And there are so many different people in very high places, people with many decades even of high-level security clearances that have come out and said, just point blank, yeah, of course, aliens are here. They have been here. The governments know about it. Government officials have talked about this, ex-government officials, as well as ex-military personnel. And it's definitely a fact that there are beings that are interdimensional, multidimensional. And so, as he is pointing out, it could be that they're from right here. They're just existing on what we might think of one vibrational rung up the ladder of our reality. And they've been here the whole time. And so there is also the thought that there are many different humanoid and other beings inside the earth as well, living inside the earth. And there is the thought that when we see some soon, the ones that we see will actually be the ones that are already in the earth. And they're just going to come to the surface and make themselves known. And so I think, to me, there is just such an overwhelming abundance of evidence of interdimensional and also extraterrestrial, in the sense that they're non-humans that are here, and then there are humanoids as well that are here, maybe slight differences between us. But this evidence is overwhelming, and I don't even think it's debatable, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not even debatable. But everybody has their own experiences. I feel that there are some that want to, still stick to a literal translation, a completely literal translation of their own holy books, one particular interpretation, and just stick to it because they can't face the worldview changing on them. As so many people, when this comes out and it's undeniable, of course, there'll be many that will refuse to believe it with their own eyes and even believe the technology, and will just simply think these are all demons. And even the word demon wasn't even something that had the same connotations that it did, originally, as we know. So there's this particular mind view that's been, propagated, and it's so limited in scope. It's basically one of the ways that they control us and keep us into this dualistic system. Because if we realized, as is said in the Bible in several places, ye are gods. Don't you know I have said that ye are gods? And the fact that all the gods that we have seen and interacted with are not God with the big G, not the creator of everything, but gods with the little g, individual beings, just like us. Just some of them perhaps interdimensional in origin, some of them perhaps extraterrestrial in origin, but all of them just beings. But yet, that individuated spark of divinity that is in you and I and all of us is probably also in everything out there in the universe. So, that part is true as well. But when we look at what he is saying here too about the watcher, well, I was going to say the watchers because I've brought it up before, the Betty Andreasson case where she was abducted, and she's from Connecticut, and that's why I found that one so fascinating because it was very close to where my hometown was. And she was abducted by these little grays, but she also saw Nordic-looking beings as well as others, so very perfectly humanoid-looking beings. They look like they would have been somebody you would have seen up in Sweden or Norway or Denmark, of that stock and that ilk, yet taller and very, very humanoid. But the grays were there as well. And it was the grays, when she asked them who they were, that said, "We are the Watchers." And of course, we know about the Watchers from the Book of Enoch. So they're saying that they are the Watchers. And so, as we've said before, there are all sorts of representations of what looks to be reptilians and grays and humanoid beings and spaceships, all over the place, as well as reports of spaceships, spewing things, or these, ships in the sky, I should say, spewing things at the time of the Justinian plagues, as well as other times. So, it's really overwhelming evidence that we see that, we are definitely not alone here, and maybe not alone by a long shot. And so it's nice to see an Oxford professor basically arguing that case. And when we wonder about the hybrid thing, well, as you were saying, it's obvious. It's just so obvious. There's biological, experiments going on here. And then we look back at all the different humanoid species from Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon, Denisovans, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Australopithecus, all the new ones that we are seeing coming out. Are all of these just simply experiments? Remember, Charles Darwin was a 33rd degree Mason, and he gave us his Origin of the Species. And he probably was in the know, and he probably knew the big picture and the reality of it, and it did his best to cover it up. And so when we look at it from that sense, creationism is kind of right in a sense, because, the modern human species is a hybrid in and of itself. And perhaps another hybrid is on the way. And so creation is ongoing, as are the experiments. So I look forward to your thoughts on all this, my friends. As always, please do thumbs up, support the channel. Go ahead and subscribe and click the bell, get all notifications, both the first and second channels. And share, share, share. And let's keep waking each other up and sharing our opinions. As always, my friends, stay safe out there. God bless, and namaste.